No, there we go.
Experimenting, trying things, and going with the flow.
It says we're live.
Perfect. That's so awesome.
It's a little bit jiggity.
But that's okay. So we need to not worry about that. We need to just look over there.
Okay.
And talk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So much easier, right?
It's been a morning.
It's been a morning of experimentation.
And exponential joy.
Yeah. Cheers to that. My God.
I hope that everybody is having a magical day.
Well, I am.
I know. Do you want to tell me why?
Oh my gosh. Because I'm here with you.
I'm so excited.
Oh, okay. So.
We're not going to start with that, are we?
Yeah, we are. Why not?
What? Oh, okay.
We're going to start with the foreword. When I asked her how she talked to angels, she shrugged her shoulders and told me she simply got out of her own way and listened. I couldn't understand how someone could be so happy. I've always wanted to know why life was so hard, and I needed to know the process for healing. We are so different, yet so much alike. I am the proverbial skeptic. Daphne is the optimal optimist. My quest for knowledge is insatiable. I discovered that magic can't be learned. It has to be embraced. We made a great team, and our friendship blossomed as we learned from each other. We learned that the thoughts, beliefs, and memories we had, including our jobs, our bank balances, and all the relationships, are all in our past. Daphne taught me that I had to let go. Together we learned that every event was a part of our story, but that it was not us. It was so freeing for both of us to see that each day a new cycle began. Daphne reminded me that it was safe for me to be me. I taught her that feelings were the core of recovery. Recover Your Joy was created from our friendship. With new beginnings, we encouraged each other to use our minds, connect with our hearts, and align ourselves with our true purpose of divine will. Angels are everywhere, ready, waiting, and willing to help us. There are so many powerful archangels. One of our favorites is Metatron, who reminds us that each morning it is time for us to step into our true authenticity and higher selves. Daphne is one of those special angels whose love and light will touch you. You will be blessed as she reminds you that healing happens when you embrace the beautiful light in each day with gratitude. Wow. That is from Daph's book, You Do You, which is on Amazon.
Yes, it's on Amazon now. I released it on the 27th of last month, which was the 29-year anniversary of the day that changed my life forever. Talking about stories and life and experiences. And for years I've been told that, I should share my story. And I was, I just didn't think that anybody wanted to know my story. I really didn't. But I mean,
hesitation,
right? Because I didn't think anybody would care. I didn't think anybody would want to know. Now, for the people that don't know my story, buy the book. No, I'm kidding. When I was younger, I was involved in a really bad car accident with my mom. And I wasn't supposed to live. Yeah. Medically speaking, of course. I obviously had other plans. And in the book, there's a whole lot of, I give lots of descriptions. But and talk about the people. And that's what I did in that book, is I talk about different experiences in my life that I've had from like when I was little and, throughout my life, and the different lessons I've learned and the different experiences that I've had and the different people that have helped me along the way. Yeah. And I love being able to do that and shine the light on other people too. Because for so many years, for myself, I was in pain. Physically and emotionally, I had no idea.
Someone said picture is crooked. Oh my God.
Picture's crooked.
On the wall.
That's okay. Can you fix it?
Are you serious? You know how much? We're leaving it because I'm not good.
But yes.
OCD, anybody?
for me, because, because I, lived in pain for so many years, I didn't know how to get out of that.
Yep.
Um, and it's wonderful how so many people come into our life at the perfect time. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I was having an amazing conversation with a dear friend, Angie Bounds, this morning, and talking about the wonderful people that come into our life for, what is it, a season or a lifetime?
Reason, season,
or lifetime. Right? And how awesome it is to learn lessons from so many people. I mean, like, come on, Nancy, when we first met, we were at, I mean, if people
polar opposites.
If people don't know this story, we got to tell them the short version.
Polar opposites.
We were at a workshop, a vision board workshop that neither of us really wanted to be at.
I did not want to go.
But I mean, we wanted to be there to support the person that was putting it on because we loved her.
The whiz kid.
Right? We totally love Janet we totally love Janet Wizawati.
Yes.
Who's an amazing person. Right? And that's why we were there to support her.
To support a friend.
Long story short, we connected. It's kind of a funny story. And if you ever want to know, you can ask. And that became how Nancy and I got to know each other.
Right. Yeah, I was intrigued with your crystals, the jewelry that you made.
Mm-hmm.
Again, skeptical. But it was almost Christmas and I did not have any shopping done because I did not want to celebrate Christmas.
Because you were very angry at the time.
Oh, I was insatiably angry and I didn't know how to heal because everything that I had learned about the laws of attraction, manifestation, anything had been totally slammed.
Right. And like Angie Brown says, and then you met Daphne.
Well, right. and then we parted ways. I bought jewelry because I bought jewelry and everybody had the option that year of either crystal jewelry or tequila. Right. And I'm like, here's your gift. And
there you go.
Are we done yet?
Right. And we had parted ways, but we became friends on Facebook. Thank God for social media in some respects.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we just back and forth here and there, how you doing sort of thing. And then you posted something how you had to go for a cortisone shot in your shoulder.
Option. It was an option because I fell down the stairs, grabbed the rail.
Yeah.
Totally tweaked my shoulder.
Yeah. And
I had bursitis.
And so I said, whoa, do not go get the shot.
Please talk to me first.
Please, and then I provided you with some different healing options that I used for myself.
Yeah.
To heal my pain and my injuries and what I had going on.
Well, because I believe the importance of experiencing your own healing, figuring out what works for you, is the best way to determine what modalities to mix, whether you are mixing holistic medicine of the healing arts, or you are mixing that with what you are already going through within your prescription, your surgeries, because it's not like we've got one biscuit. It's two biscuits.
Yeah. And how everything works together works differently for everybody else. And I mean, I brought some tools that I can show and share.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's necessarily what we're talking about right now. We're talking about never giving up.
Yeah.
So when we got together to help you with your shoulder, I shared tools with you that I used for myself. Yeah. I said, try it.
Well, and giving up wasn't an option at that point because my right hand, the bursitis had gone from my shoulder to my elbow to my hand, and I could not hold a coffee cup.
Yeah.
Like it was just, and
you can now.
I can now. And that was my right hand. Yeah. And that was the hand that I was using for accounting.
Yeah. And for your job.
Yeah. And I had stubbornly learned how to use my left hand.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the
Yeah.
best possible version of myself.
Right.
And then you helped the rescue dogs that I had, Rambo, Duke, and Maya. And that was just so cool to watch. And then we kind of continued in our friendship.
Yeah, but we weren't like, we weren't like talking.
No,
every
not
day.
until again another Christmas season.
I was at an event helping a friend with a market that she had put on, and you showed up. You just happened to show up at the event. You were going just to check it out.
I was going just to check it out because we were going to begin selling peppers. Yeah, we sold peppers. We sold canned pot peppers for a year. Yeah, at the trade shows. And so
that's how we reconnected. But you see how the universe just brings people back into your life that can share, grow, and learn. And I mean, while that was going on, you want to pick up that book there? You've had the interview with the beautiful Brenda Hammond.
Yes.
Who Sacred Hearts Rising. I actually helped this horse that's on the back here.
Yeah, right.
That's how I met Brenda, because I was referred to Brenda to help her with her horse. And then she found out about my story and she said, I'm writing a book. You should be in my book. And I told her no.
Right.
I told her no more than a dozen times. Yeah. But she wouldn't take no for an answer. She wouldn't. But it was from loving concern of hers to help me transition through what I hadn't yet dealt with.
Well, and the mix of stories in this anthology series
is
amazing. Like, there is not a book that does not have a story that will not touch somebody. Yeah. I turn to a page, and the question is, are you gay? I turn to another page, and this doesn't mean chaos. Chaos still does not rear its ugly head. And that's what's going on right now in our world, is chaos. Yeah. And when you learn to take back your power and control, then you have the opportunity to choose differently.
Now, did you know me when I did my first chapter? Because I'm in book 1 and book 2.
Nope.
Okay, so
nope.
Yeah. So I wrote the chapter, when Brenda wouldn't take no for an answer. I wrote it very systematically, but the chapter is called Roots. And I kind of went through, the roots of my life that got me to where I was at the time.
And that was a few years ago.
Yeah, back in, I don't remember.
2018.
No, that was the second one was coming in 18.
Coming soon. Oh, you're right. So this
look
one
at the
was
back of the book.
Before then.
Should be some, I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, it was, I think it was, I'm not
16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16. But because it takes a year at least to put a book together.
Well, it took me a year to write the You Do You, and then it took a year to edit it. So 2-year process.
It's a big step. I think that's something that, if you're considering writing, if you've got that tick in your heart,
just do it.
So many don't.
Yeah.
And then
because of fear.
Well, to live with the story inside of you and to not honor that. Yeah. Wow.
Well, and did you want to?
Well, we both had the opportunity to quickly open up the book this morning, because I wanted to choose a part of your story that really, really resonated with me now. And giving up or quitting was never an option. Even though there were days that I had no idea how I was going to make it, I had chosen to be here while I lay between life and death. So I thought I better buck up and get on with it.
What more do you say? Right?
Yeah.
But and you and I are friends, and I had this book come out, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I found out that they were doing a second book. Called Finding Your Wings.
Yeah.
Right? And I said to you, I said, I think you would be great to write a chapter. And you're like, no. And I'm like, you don't have a choice.
Well, you just kept on asking and asking
Well,
and
I mean,
asking. And I'm like, okay, if I do it, will you stop? And okay. And then you connected me with Brenda. And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked at the entire experience of writing. Right down from the person who I was writing this with
right.
to the editor. I mean, when I wrote my story, I was very uncomfortable
Yeah.
with saying so much about my journey.
As was I for my first chapter, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I wrote a chapter for the second book. So I love that we are published in the same book together. But your chapter is called In Heaven, right? And I love the last little bit of this chapter. It says, I'm no longer governed by the painful pretense of post-traumatic stress disorder. I've learned that we all have souls wrapped in disguises. The mask I once wore to hide the abuse has been shed, and now I talk openly about the grace-filled experiences that brought me from trauma to triumph. My joy is truly exponential, and I wake each day with arms open wide and grace of the experience and opportunities that Spirit brings me. I mean,
and the story still rings true today,
right? And I love how you just written a chapter for another book on PTSD.
Yeah, the PTSD Compass, which
right?
is filled with stories and strategies. That is so cool.
Right? Which is just exponentially awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I really feel that right now in this time of, as much as I don't like to say it, global chaos, people coming together like we are to support one another, to shine our light and share our magic.
Well, and you know, the chaos, it depends upon the way you look at it.
Right?
If you take a snow globe, it's so pretty, it's so cute, and you shake it up. That's what's happening. Our world is getting shaken up.
Right.
And then the snow, the sparkles settle, and then it's like, no more.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to shake it up. And each of us is going through such a unique journey. There is not one journey that is the same.
Well, and that's why never giving up is how I roll.
I don't have an option.
Right? Like I just don't.
No.
I just don't. And that's why I love being able to do what I do, to share to share love, light, and healing energy distantly with people around the world.
Well, and that's where, because we can't all be in the same place,
right?
No matter whether we're talking about now in the year 2021 or 5 years ago,
right?
Or 5 years from now, we cannot all be in the same space.
There's just not enough room. Period.
I mean,
I've been blessed to have connected with people from Australia. I mean, Sue from Australia had puppies that needed help. So I did distance sessions on her and her puppies in Australia to help them with what they needed help with. And they're good.
Well, and animals and people, because they share such a unique relationship, there is such a common factor. Our animals love us so much. A lot of people say unconditionally, but I'm like, well, no food, no love. Right? But they take on so much of our stuff. They just do.
Yeah. And I mean, when I've been asked to help animals, and it was funny because the first animal that I helped was a cat that had joint and arthritic pain. And the owner had a whole lot of joint and arthritic pain. And I did 2 sessions on the cat, and the person stood up from the couch without using her cane.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, she said, "What did you do to me?" I'm like, "I don't know." Because I didn't know.
No, at the time,
Right?
you just did what you did.
Because like you said in my fort, I get out of my own way, and I am the conduit to channel the healing energies that are
Mhm.
needed in each and every moment.
Yeah.
And I've got some really cool tools that I use.
Well, and when we look at relationships, because life is about relationships, whether you're relating to someone else or you're relating to yourself, there's all those amazing sayings, happy wife,
Happy life.
and it's true. I mean, if mom's not happy, nobody's happy. And same with the incredible relationship with a father and a child and their father. And when you work on one part of the family, you go all the way back into the different parts of that person, and it heals the entire family, or allows healing for the entire family, because you have to be willing. Free will. It's not free willy. Well, it is, but it's free will, and you have to choose. And that's where we cannot force anybody to.
Nope. And that's the thing. I because I healed myself from all of everything that I went through and lived through. I mean, you talk about it way better than I do, because I talk about it very nonchalantly.
Well, and I think we all do that in our healing. We talk about it nonchalantly, because it's not a been there, done that. It's a recognition of the present moment that we're in now.
Well, I mean, I can look at the camera right now and I can ask you, what would you do if a doctor asked you if you could harvest the organs of your child? What would you do?
And how many people have gone through that,
right?
And had to make that choice, struggled with the choices that they've made,
right?
Or are struggling with the choices they have to make right now.
Right. And it's all about choices. And I'm grateful that my dad chose to say, no, she's not done.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I was in a coma for 18 days. And I'm grateful that I was on full life support for 2 weeks. I know that sounds weird, but had that not have happened, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when we take our hurts, and we heroically meet those challenges, we become a hero in our own story. And we're all destined for greatness if we choose. And greatness doesn't mean that you got to be a rock star or a rocket scientist. We have the ability to change our community.
One smile at a time.
And our home. Whether we're living by ourselves or whether we're blessed to have people in our lives. And everything in between, right? Because sometimes the people that are in our lives shift and transition, and we can hold on to the hatred and struggle with the physical pain of holding on to too much. I mean, you ever try and go swimming with a suitcase full of boulders?
Yeah, that doesn't work very well.
No, unless you've got a scuba tank on and,
Yeah. Well.
And even then you still got to let go eventually. Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's circle back for just a minute, because when you and I first got together, right, and you were in the space of anger, and then you got hurt, and then we came back together, and I helped you with that, and then our friendship has just developed ever since then. We've done different things together, but I am so happy. I was gonna say exponentially grateful again, but because that's your line.
Well, exponential is a big word right now. Like, it's everywhere. It's like you turn on the TV and it's like exponential this and exponential that, and everyone's talking about joy. even though
Yeah.
there's so many other things that we could talk about, but we choose not to talk about.
Well, and that's why I'm so grateful that you have created the Recover Your Joy program.
I love it.
It is so amazing.
It's a legacy. And a legacy means that you take something, you create it,
Yeah.
and it stays
Yeah.
when you leave, because we're all going to leave.
At some point.
Well, I mean, we're going to leave this house. We're going to leave this city. We're going to leave this planet.
Yeah. Eventually.
Eventually. I
Yeah.
mean, it's something that you cannot escape.
Right.
Period. Yeah. I mean, unless there's a spaceship that's waiting for me and the Great Gazoo's in it, but I'm still waiting for Barney and Fred to show up too.
Right. So
so it's a serious conversation, but it's got subtle shades of don't take life too seriously, because then you miss the sparkles and the sprinkles
and the glitter.
Yeah, right. Because we will all go through massive obstacles.
I like to say shitty shit.
Shitty shit. Yeah. Fugly feelings. Fugly feelings. I mean, F before ugly. Don't need to spell it out. Unless you're a duck. Let's just keep on going with that one, right? But I love to play with words. Anybody who's read anything I've written knows that I love to play with words. And I took my previous life, where I went back to school as a mom to become a teacher.
Yeah.
And then that changed into psychology for 3 years. And then my psychology teacher gave me a great big F on a paper and said, I suggest creative writing. And I'm like, jerk.
But look at you now.
I love creative writing. Psychology and I didn't really get along because it's like microeconomics and macroeconomics. There's that yeah, but. Because even though I'm very analytical, I mean, I've got binders full of information so that I can source. And because I want to be able to give you the best possible answer I can. And I don't know all the answers. What? Well, I mean,
I'm kidding.
I B is for balsam and F is for fur. I love essential oils, but I'm still learning about the different carrier oils.
Yeah.
Jojoba, and like, it's so cool. But I can't possibly not refer to something.
Right. And that's what's so amazing too, circling back to my You Do You book, is I refer, I mean, in the back of my book, I put a section, it's not an index section, it's a people that have inspired me section.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not an index, it's not a glossary, it's a people that have inspired me.
Well, because when we figure out who it is that inspires us, it shows us what undeveloped potential we have. Because if I'm inspired by Cher, what is it about her that I admire? Okay, I'll list it. She can sing. She can dance.
She can stand up for herself.
She can completely do that. Right. She's a diva. She's like nobody else. So what part of that do I want?
Yeah. And that's where, if I could, I'm going to say circle back again, but what I do with the healing energies and tools that I use and practice with, I'm so, I mean, I would love to share.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love for you to talk about possibly too, how the distance therapies have helped you.
Oh my gosh, when I was in Mexico, you were helping me. I mean, I was going through a absolute crisis of family structure.
Yeah.
I mean, when we parent and we're not at home, and life goes like click.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God,
I can't be there.
I can't be there. Having someone that can, it's not like you went to my home and fixed all my stuff.
No,
You fixed,
the uneasiness in you.
yeah. Yeah. And I was able to still be where I was, but effectively deal with my problems.
And so it's funny because people say, well, how do you do that? I say, I use very cool tools.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm going to pull out the little one of this first, just because. So this is a little neutralization ring. Want to hold up the big one?
This is a
Go that
big
way.
neutralization ring, right? Like, look at the difference in the size. And yet they're the same because they have sacred geometry.